I do have to say before we get started, because I was an SX Live judge, so was Françoise. In fact, she's kind of the head judge. She does most of the work, and the rest of us just kind of tag along in her week. But you guys really cleaned up this year. How many awards did you get? 3 or 4?
Yeah, I think we got 4 this year.
Yeah, incredible. And I mean, I can tell you, you don't get those awards without deserving them. So congratulations on my behalf. And why don't you tell people a little bit more about well, now I'm going to let you two introduce yourselves, even though I could go on about Françoise for about a half an hour, but why don't you tell people a little more about, and just in case there's somebody on the planet that doesn't know the two of you. And I'm going to get off the air here.
Françoise.
Thanks, Al. Bevin, why don't you go first?
Oh, you want me to go first? Sure. So I'm the director of online/digital support. My team also supports all of the knowledge management, KCS methodology for Siemens DISW. I have a compliance portion to my role as well. So I have individuals on my team that ensure we're aligned from a compliance perspective. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And so we oversee and do a little bit of a lot here at Siemens. So I've been here about 10 years in total. I came over about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, as part of an acquisition that Siemens made of Mentor, used to be Mentor Graphics. We had won this award a number of years as Mentor Graphics, and then about 5-6 years ago, we were acquired by Siemens, and so I came over as part of that acquisition and took over the entire scope of our whole portfolio of products when it comes to the responsibilities of my team. So it's been great.
Wonderful. Thank you. So my name is Françoise. I'm the owner of FT Works, and I'm here because I am a judge, and I have been a judge for many, many years for this particular awards. Always love to do that and see what wonderful things other people are doing, and that's what we've heard all day today. So I will be the facilitator. I'm going to be interviewing Bevin here for everybody who's attending. And Bevin is going to do all the hard work of showing us various features on his website. We will, so it's a show and tell, right? And then after that, I will ask him about his future plans, because we would like him to win again next year, right? And then he will share some best practices with you. There is a Q&A section in this conversation. So please, if you have a question, just ask it in real time and we will get to it. I'm the one who will be monitoring that. We'll have a proper Q&A section as well at the end, but why don't you ask at the time that the question comes to your mind? That would be great. Thank you for that.
Please do. Please do.
So Bevin, 3rd year in a row. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. We have a long ways to go to keep up with NetApp and Red Hat, but we feel good.
Yet, but you have to start with 3 to get to 14.
You got to start somewhere. Yes, you do.
Exactly. So before we start looking at the different themes that we want to share, why don't you tell us a little bit about the website? What kind of product lines do you support? What kind of users are you supporting? I understand you have a pretty big product range, so that makes it always very interesting.
Indeed. Yeah, thanks. So we support solely our enterprise customers. So it ranges from small to medium-sized businesses to extremely large enterprises like Panasonic, Samsung, Microsoft, some of the largest electronic companies in the world. Our portfolio has expanded dramatically. As I noted, 5 or 6 years ago, we were acquired by Siemens Digital Industry Software. So we say digital industry software because Siemens is They have, what, 350,000 employees worldwide, and they're primarily known for their hardware side of the business. When you think about the healthcare business, they have, Siemens ultrasounds and products like that, trains, windmills, all kinds of large hardware products. We are the wing of Siemens that is on the software side, so we do all of the software development for Siemens, and that includes kind of what we refer to as the EDA side, which is the electronic design automation. And so that's increasing the effectiveness and the ability of companies to design chips and design wire harnessing for planes and cars and all of that. Plus, we have our product lifecycle management, where it's we're managing the product life cycle we're providing software to manage that cycle. We're also providing CAD design software that allows them to more effectively design their products before it goes to production. We refer to the digital twin often, where they're able to see a rendering of the product in a digital view so that it renders exactly like it's going to render when it goes into production. So as you can imagine, that saves hours and thousands of dollars for them to be able to do that digitally before they do it in full production. So it's a broad portfolio. We have, probably about 250 different products now that we offer and need to support across the organization. And so it's that breadth makes it difficult when you think about, we need to standardize all this. We need to standardize our support across that many products. So you can imagine how challenging that is and how difficult it makes it, on our site. I think we have nearly 90,000 knowledge articles within our database. And so again, managing that scope of content is incredible. We have 30 million different document topics that are on our site right now. So it's a broad portfolio and makes for interesting opportunities going forward.
Great. Wow, a big job ahead of you, I'm sure, every day. So the way we are going to organize this conversation is, when you apply for the awards, you have the possibility of identifying 3 areas that you are particularly proud of or you want more feedback on. And that's kind of the outline that we are going to follow. So these 3 areas for you were OpenAI search, AI translation. We heard about translation twice already today, so that'll be interesting to see your special sauce here. And then the third one, I think is quite unique and very interesting, is data privacy. So can you tell us a little bit, let's talk about the first one first, right? OpenAI search. And I think you want to maybe show us some demo as well.
Absolutely, I do. So I've really enjoyed all of the discussions up to this point related to AI, and understand there's more to go tomorrow. But certainly wanted to take the opportunity to share with you the work that we've put forth around AI, as Françoise said, both from a search perspective as well as a translation perspective. And I'll caveat it by saying it certainly isn't perfect, right? We have got a lot of work to do to make it better, but we felt that it was important that we introduce it to our customers. And not only will we try to make it better from what we know needs to be improved, but most importantly, getting that feedback from our customers to understand how we can improve AI and make that work. We know that from a knowledge management perspective, everybody's talked about their knowledge management today, how important that is. But within the industry, it has become exponentially more important that we have a solid knowledge management practice, that we're following KCS, and that we're managing the database effectively, because that's our AI capabilities are only as good as the content and the data behind it. So we're trying to ensure that we're managing both very effectively, both from our content that exists through our knowledge management, as well as rendering that on our site effectively. So let me jump in and let me share my screen, and I'll demonstrate first our AI capabilities within our support portal. So I'll give you just a little bit of navigation here. So when a customer comes in, at this point, the majority of our site is behind the firewall, if you will. It requires a login. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from the judges over the past few years that they would like to see more of our content available publicly to our users, and so that we can optimize our SEO as well based upon that. And so we've been working through that to figure out which product teams are generally okay with, opening this up and opening up their content to Google and to the open web. And so we're working on that. So judges, just know we hear you loud and clear, and we're continuing to work through that. But this does require that they come in, that they're entitled to see their product set. And these are the products that an individual are entitled to when they come in. So we know through their license that they purchased from us, we know exactly what products they have and which they're entitled to see on the support site. So when they log in, we show them their specific products. Now, some large enterprise customers have a significant portfolio of products that they purchase from us. And so at times, this list of products can get pretty lengthy, and the customer the specific user probably isn't using every single one of those products. So they can come in, they can view the products that they're entitled to here. They can come in and they can click here to manage their product list, and I'll take you into that real quick. And this shows all of their products. It shows their entitlements. So if they can view the knowledge base, if they can download the product, if they can open a support case, it shows them their entitlements clearly, quickly, so that they know what they can do on the site. And then if they don't want to,
Bevin, these entitlements are for the company, right?
These are for the company. Yes, for the company they belong to, for the product that they purchase. So yes, each user that would come in for that company would have the same entitlements. Indeed. So they can come in and they can quickly scan through their products. And if they say A to B solutions, that's not something that I'm working with today. I don't want this in my experience when I search. I don't want to search across A to B solutions. So I'm just going to turn that off. And then you can see now that once I turn that off and turn it back on, it takes a second for it to render. There we go. So then it's removed from their product list. So very customizable, very the ability to personalize their experience. Very simple here within this managed product list.
And typically, the user would only do this one time, right? They come in.
One time.
I just choose the products I'm interested in, and then my universe is constrained to what I really care about, right?
That's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right. Do it once, and then it's constrained to what they really care about, and they only see those products that they're interested in or that they're utilizing for a particular project they're working on. So then they can come in and, say they want to view information related to NX as their product. So then they come into the product center. We refer to it as a product center because this is where they can come in and they can view recommended knowledge base articles. These recommended articles are based upon their previous experience on the site. So different articles that they viewed, different documentation that they've accessed. We take all that and then we utilize that from an AI perspective to show them specific articles, knowledge-based articles that we would recommend to them based upon that. We have a lot of getting started content to help them get up and running, the latest videos, and then here is our, we take from our community and we bring over content from our community into Support Center so that it's searchable, so that we've got a federated search that includes the community content. Plus, it allows them to stay right here on Support Center in order to view that community content. If they want to view more, then we direct them over to the community itself where they can view that content there. We've got our knowledge base, again, community content, training content that's available, downloads, documentation, and videos, all within their product center. So they just need to come into the product, view everything here within the product center, and they'll be able to view all their resources there.
Bevin,
Okay,
can I ask a question from the Q&A? Somebody asked a question that really made me laugh. He said, do you find that your customers generally have a good idea of the different products? When you were showing us, I want AB solution, I want this, I want that. Do customers actually know what they're using, or are they confused?
They do. We find that the only individuals that come into the site are those that are very, very clear on the product that they're leveraging. So they're, like I said, the company may have A2B solutions and 15 other products, but an individual comes in, they know, hey, I'm only using A2B solutions. I may not know what these other products are, but I know I'm using A2B solutions, so I'm going to get rid of everything else, and I'm just going to keep A2B solutions here for my view.
Okay, great.
It's a great question. That is a great question. Okay, so that just kind of gives you a broad view of the site itself. So now let me jump into our AI search. So if I go ahead and ask a question, and if you'll note here, we have actually put a little note in here that says phrase your NX search query in the form of a question, because we found that the AI answer that comes back is much, much more effective if it's done in a question form versus just a term, a search term. And so we asked them, hey, give us a question here, and let's go ahead and we'll do a search there. And when that search is performed, you'll see that we have different resources or content types that they can search against. So they can leave them all checked, or they can go ahead and they can uncheck whichever ones they don't want. They may be like, I don't want to search across all of our support cases or other resources. I just want to search across our knowledge base articles and our documentation. So you can see there's 55 with this search that I did. There's 55 knowledge base articles and 269 documents that it searched against, right? And so all of that content comes back. So they search against it, and then it brings back this AI answer. Here's the suggested answer that it brought back. And in the suggested answer, you can see that it's searched across our entire database of content, and it's brought back a conglomeration of all the potential answers that could apply, to this particular question that they searched for. And so you can see that it brought back, 3 or 4 different articles and a document, that could serve to answer this question. This KB article mentions that the standard templates, and it goes on. And to resolve this, you need to install NX fixed plane additive manufacturing. So give that a try and run through those troubleshooting steps. And then here down below, it provides them the actual articles. So it references these articles up here, so they can go ahead and easily click into those articles. And if they want to see those in more detail, they can click into them. And then you'll note that we also bring back the standard search as well. So we bring back the documentation or the knowledge base articles, So if they do want to click into any one of those, they can, they can still do that. So we've got both AI and we've got the standard keyword search that brings back the regular results that customers know and love. So if the AI doesn't work or it doesn't give them the right answer that they're looking for, then they can go down and they can look in the standard search results.
Do you know if people are clicking in the standard results, or are they so happy that they're good, right, with the AI stuff that you gave them?
I wish it was that. I wish it was that easy, but no, they're definitely still clicking, into the standard search results. I think it's going to take some time for them to get used to.
Do you think it's habit, or do you think it's I want more?
We know that there's, from feedback we've gotten from customers, that it's both. At times the AI answer that's brought back is just not right, and we realize that. That's why we haven't said, hey, AI is it. We're going to take away our standard search results, because we do see, from our analytics, we still see a lot of clicks into our documentation from search and into our knowledge base articles. So, customers, it gives them that option, but a lot of times they're still opting for going directly to the document or the KB article.
So it's belt and suspenders, and right now the suspenders are not quite 100%, right?
It's a great way to put it. Exactly. And you'll note that we have, the thumbs up and thumbs down, as we've seen before. We're actually going to, in order to get, because this isn't utilized a lot, you can imagine that it gets overlooked very easily. We're in the process of refining this, where we are going to, I think Automation Anywhere mentioned that this morning, where they're going to do a pop-up. We're going to do the same, to bring it more front and center, to say, hey, did this answer your question? If not, why not? Allow them to give us that feedback more directly and more frequently, so that we can continue to refine it based on that feedback. So that's an enhancement that's coming very, very soon that we're working on at the moment.
But even with just the analytics, you could figure out where people are clicking, right? And
absolutely,
vote with their feet, right? Or in this instance, they vote with their index finger.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right. I did want to show one other thing real quick, that if I just filter this down to our knowledge base articles, that we do allow a customer. So instead of them clicking in directly, to the article, if they just want to preview it, then we do have this little eyeball that allows them to preview the article very quickly, and then decide if they want to. So it highlights the search terms that it brought back. And then if they do want to click into it after they preview it, then they can do that very easily. And it just comes and goes. And we also have analytics that tell us how often they're using the preview versus how often they're linking directly into the article and reviewing the article page itself.
Great. Wonderful. So that was one of three, right?
Yes.
AI search. So do you want to now talk a little bit about AI translation, which I get is a hot topic considering what we heard today?
Indeed. Oh, and let me mention one more thing real quick,
Sure.
related to the search. So we've enabled this within the case flow as well. A lot of talk about implicit deflection within, the experience itself, and then explicit deflection within the case flow. And so we're driving both with AI, the ability to get an AI answer from, the global search, as we refer to it as, and also receive a similar AI answer within the case flow. So if a customer comes in and they choose their product within, so this is in the support case flow, they choose their product, their version, they tell us, what is the issue type. They can enter in their description, and, they say, I cannot delete a PDF data set. They can search for a solution, and when they search, we bring up this dialog box that, again, we give a direct AI suggested answer for that. So they can come in and they can say, hey, oh yeah, I can see cannot delete the PDF data set. It gives them multiple options and direct answers there. Similar look and feel. Again, here's the articles that were referenced to get that answer. And then the search results, keyword search results, still come up here. And if none of this helps, then they can go ahead and open a new support case. So we have enabled it both within the full experience and within the case flow as well.
Right.
So I did want to note that.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, that's really helpful.
Great.
Wonderful. Let's translate.
Okay.
Let's speak languages
All right,
neither you nor I can speak.
Exactly. Well, let's do that. So if a user comes in and they view a knowledge base article up till about 8 months ago, our articles were only in English. We had some that were translated into Japanese primarily. Plus, we allow our support engineers within Salesforce, where they author their articles, they can go in and they can go out and, they can create their article in English, and then with the push of the button, it goes ahead and it translates it into the language that they would like. And it's within 13 different languages that they can translate the article, and then they can publish that translated article to our support site. We wanted to make it easier for our customers, given the vast majority of our articles are in English. We wanted to make it much easier for them to translate the article on the fly, and allow them to read it in their native language if they would prefer, given that a lot of times it's just in English. So in order to do that, we've enabled this AI translation on the knowledge article page. So you can see here that we give them this option to view the article in one of the 13 different languages that we provide our site in. And so they can come in and, very easily go from English. They can, choose Spanish, for example, and you can see that real time it goes through and translates the article. You'll see it's kind of a build. It kind of, goes through and takes a little bit to translate it. And the reason that we do this is it saves processing power. It saves a lot of money on the back end by, having it translate kind of in this streaming view. And so we hope at some point, that our technology and the technology on the back end becomes or is optimized enough that it just does it kind of, real time. It refreshes and then you see it, but you can see it continues to just kind of translate it through, and keeps the images as they are, but gives us the content of the article within Spanish. We can do that, and again, if you want to go right back to English, then you can do that, and it brings it right back to English in its original state. One thing we found is when it's translated into double byte characters like Japanese, we've heard earlier from others that the translation isn't the best. We have our Japanese customers that are pretty particular about their content, and when that content is, yeah, we all know, we all have heard from our Japanese customers that they want it translated just right, and so in a lot of cases the translation doesn't come back perfectly, but again, we wanted to get it out there to receive that feedback so that we can continue to train our AI engine to make it better. What we've directed our support engineers to do is, if they find that a particular article that's been translated real time like this is not optimal, then we just say, then take that article, go ahead into Salesforce and translate it there with the machine translation and republish that article so that you have that translated version on our support site, so customers in Japan can view it directly as a machine translated article in its more perfected state. So that's the guidance we're given.
So that's really interesting. You have both a just-in-time translation capability, which you just demoed, right? And you also find it totally normal and healthy to have translated articles permanently in the knowledge base, right? So you do both.
Indeed.
Interestingly.
We do both. We do both. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, most of our articles are in English, but the other large percentage is in Japanese. And so our Japanese support engineers, authors are used to using that machine translation within Salesforce. And so they opt to do that anyways, knowing that this isn't perfect. So we keep both, and we just encourage them to make the decision which one, they'd much rather use. The other, Spanish, Italian, French, it does actually a really, really good job of it. And we've had our, French customers and our Italian customers give us really good feedback on the optics around it. So really pretty impressed.
Congratulations. I think we have a question before we move on. This is an interesting question from David. He says, when the user clicks the translate button, if there was a translation available already that you had stored, would you show them that? That's a great question.
It's a great question, David. Yeah, I appreciate that. We don't currently, and hadn't even really given that much thought, to be honest with you. But that would be the ideal state, because it's, like you said, it's probably the more correct translation because it is machine translated. That's an interesting enhancement that we should look into.
Of course, right now you have so few translated articles that probably the difference would be negligible. But we have another question from Yulia that says, what helps you make a decision when you do permanent versus just in time? So that's what you were just explaining, that at any time somebody can translate something, usually because the just-in-time translation is not that great, right? Then you would use machine translation.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. If we get feedback from customers, and we even have at times where we encourage our support engineers. We have the role of a KDE. So those that are familiar with the KCS methodology, we have our knowledge domain experts, and we meet with them on a monthly basis, and we'll talk with them about these features and these capabilities, and we'll encourage them, hey, when you have time, just go out and take a look at some of your more frequently accessed articles and do the translation, do the real-time translation, and, find a support engineer that speaks that language, or find a customer and ask them, how was the translation of this article? And if it's a little bit rough, then we encourage them to go ahead and use the machine translation within Salesforce.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we had a third topic that I am very interested in, and it's about data privacy. So we're seeing an enormous amount of interest by countries, organizations, individuals around data privacy. So what have you done in that area? And I think that's a unique topic that nobody talked about today. So
haven't heard it today. Yeah, it's not the sexiest topic, that's for sure, compared to AI and all of that. However, it is one of the most critical, most important topics that, that probably exists out there today, especially for a company like Siemens. We sell our products to a lot of aerospace and defense companies. And so when you think about, defense companies, Lockheed Martin, companies like that, or the Department of Defense, with the U.S. government, all of this is significant. And we spend a significant amount of time ensuring that from a support perspective, that when a customer comes in, to open a support case, and they need to provide us a particular file, or a log file, a test case, whatever the case may be, that we are handling that file exactly how it should be handled. And, in a lot of respects, so a customer comes into the support case flow, they'll give us all the metadata that we need. They'll put in their support case title, they'll give us a description, they'll fill all this information out. If there's an error message, they can add that. What's the priority of this issue? Any reference tags? So we've got a lot of metadata that they give us. And then here we've got their ability to attach a file. Okay, I wish to attach a file to this case. All data, we tell them, all data will be treated as confidential, regardless of the data compliance needs of it. So if they click on, I want to attach a file, we don't just allow them to immediately attach that file. We can't. We need them to tell us, is there any reason that this file needs to be restricted and handled differently. So first we ask them, what country are you uploading it from? Okay, that makes a huge difference if you're uploading it from the United States, if you're uploading it from Germany, or where you're uploading it from. Why do we ask this? We give them clear definition of why we ask. And then what's the data classification of this? Is this a commercial export controlled file? Is it commercial unrestricted, meaning there's no restrictions around this file? Is it ITAR, military technical data? So a lot of times, we're dealing with military customers. A lot of their data is restricted because it's military data that can't be, sent out of the United States, right? So, or is it U.S. government information, CUI or CDI? So if they tell us that it's restricted in any way, export controlled, ITAR, CUI, CDI, any one of those, if they click on that, then we're going to ask them, our ECCN, anything like that, and then is this data linked to U.S. government contracts and controlled CUI? And if it is, then we ask them additional questions, and we need to, and they may want to put, a banner marking on the document or on the file to ensure that it's handled properly by our support engineers. So you can see that significant amount of questions and restrictions that we put around this. If they select no here and, they put in all of the proper information, then we'll allow them to upload the file. When the file is uploaded,
Bevin,
so I'm
just
going
to comment, right? Earlier,
Sure.
Christopher asked about, what if customers don't know their product name, right? And here you're asking them a lot of details, but presumably people who work with controlled information would know, right?
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. We've not had a situation where a file is uploaded incorrectly or improperly, because those that know, they know. They have to know. Yeah.
So we may not know the acronyms, but people who are doing it every day would know, right?
They know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly, the ECCN number. They know if it's, ITAR related, if it's export control related, all of those things, they know it. And so that's why we rely upon them to let us know how we should be handling their data. Okay. So this is where they can upload their file. The minute they upload it, and they click open this support case, then the support case will go to Salesforce. The file itself goes to restricted servers, and we have, I think, 14 different countries where we have restricted servers in those countries where those files are then transported, and they sit within a secure chamber within those different servers in those countries. And our support engineers that are able to handle that data within that country, they are given specific access because they're in that country. They will then receive a notification that says you have a classified file that's available for your support case. Then they will go in, they will log into that server, and they will access that file on that server. They don't download it to their computer, and they access it there. They review it, and they use it to handle that support case. And then after a period of time, our policy is set that that file is then removed from that secure chamber and is no longer available for usage.
So that's a ton of work on your end, right? To do
Significant.
keep all that straight. So
significant.
I think we know the answer kind of, but what does it give you? I mean, what's the business advantage in doing all of this gyrations?
Yeah. It's a great question. In order for us to do business with these defense companies, government, agencies, and other companies, they require that we show them and that we certify with them that we have this process in place, or else they won't do business with us. Mm-hmm. So it becomes a significant, not only value add, but a requirement for us to do business with these companies, for them to do business with us. And we have to prove that this is in place, that it's certified, it's audited, and everything else. So that's the only way we can do business with these companies.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. So that was the third theme, right? The two AI themes and then data protection. So my next question would be around the future. So you've done all these great stuff. What's on your to-do list for this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've got some significant work underway for this next year, for 2025. The first one I just want to mention is, because our site is entitlement based, up to this point, when a customer comes in and they want to register for access to our support center, they need to give us certain pieces of data that allow us to know whether they should be able to access our site. My team, my support operations team, they're the ones that help facilitate getting them access to, to our support site and having visibility to these products. What we're doing is we're creating a new application called Admin Center, because it puts a lot of risk on Siemens if we're the ones that are verifying that information, that this user should have access to this information on our support site. It puts a lot of risk on Siemens and on my team and me. I've been in too many of those calls with legal that we decided we got to do something about this. Yeah, exactly. So we're creating an application called Admin Center, which allows the admins that are identified at the company to go to this Admin Center, and they're the ones that can approve or deny users access to our support center. So they'll get notified and they say, hey, you have a user, Bob Smith, who would like to access your site and your information. Do you accept them or do you deny them? They can choose whichever one. If they accept them, then the user will get notified that, congratulations, you have access to Support Center. If they're denied, they'll be notified and they can reach out to that admin and find out why the admin, decided not to let them join the site. Plus,
so you're pushing the decisions onto your own customers, right?
We have to. Yeah.
That's
we have to. Yeah, it's important that we do that from a legal perspective mostly, but also it just takes a lot of work off of my team, my operations team, to manage that. And the other thing that application, the Admin Center, will do is it'll allow the company admin to decide what type of entitlements or access levels these users will have. So they'll be able to come in and they can say, hey, I want to have, there's 20 users, that can access our information. I want only 5 of them to be able to open a support case, right?
Exactly.
So they'll be able to create a role that says open support case role, and then they'll add those 5 users to that role. And then those 5 users will be able to open support cases. The other 15 won't. Yeah. So it gives
really fine detail on access, not just yes or no.
That's exactly. Yep.
So that's one big idea. Any others? Idea.
The other one is we're actually going to be refining or revamping our pretty much our entire experience that I show you here. Okay. So we've appreciated all of the visibility to Red Hat, NetApp, Dell, all these other great companies. And we realize we need to modernize our site, and we need to make the experience simpler for the customer. Like I said, all of these things that I've heard today have resonated so well with the work that we're doing to revamp the experience. And so, with that, we have a very, very quick, just kind of prototype, that we're working on. So you'll see that there's a number of elements that look quite familiar, from experiences that we see on other award-winning support sites. And so I just wanted to give kind of a quick glimpse of what this will look like as a coming soon type of an experience. And we're excited about the new look and feel and the new navigation that our customers will experience based upon all the feedback we've received from them and the feedback we've received from these amazing judges here today and in the past few years. So we're excited about that coming.
Great. Well, I look forward to judging your site again next year and seeing.
Yes, indeed.
So we have a few minutes left, and I want to have some time for Q&A. So, what would you recommend doing to get a better site and of course also win? What would be your advice to all of the people who are on the call right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say, just everybody that, take the opportunity to, if you're not, become a member of, ASP, because of the reports that Al's talked about and, that have been referenced here today. Take full advantage of that. There's a lot of incredible information that's shared with these sites that have won for many, many years, and they win for a reason. We're trying to stay, up on that. So I would just encourage you, to take the opportunity to do that and leverage the information that comes from this. Get as much feedback from your customers as you can. As also been noted here, usertesting.com is a great way of doing that. I think Dell mentioned that they're using usertesting.com. We are as well. Use those opportunities to get customer feedback as often and as frequently as possible. So, just a few things, very briefly to ensure that you're staying on top and staying as current as possible. And this is a great forum to do that. Yeah.
So basically feedback from anywhere you can get it. Right?
Feedback.
And ideas from the reports. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah, indeed.
So I want to open we responded to a lot of questions on the Q&A, so keep putting them there. In the meantime, I have one last question, if I can, Bevin. So you've showed us a lot of stuff, right? And even the unsexy parts are going to require a lot of work. So one of the things I often hear from my clients is, FT, these sites are really wonderful, the one that when they're just great, but clearly they have an army of people working on the site. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit about your team? Who is working on this site? What do they do? And do you really have an army?
I wish I had an army. I really do. I do. I'm like, man, we could do a million things if I had some of the number of resources that some of the other sites have. We have a pretty small team. We have our development side of things, and then we have our operations side of things. And we probably have about, I think, 8 developers that oversee our entire, support experience. We have about little over 5 million visits, to our site every year. And so it's not massive because it's not a consumer site, but it's not small either, from kind of an enterprise site. So we get a lot of visits. And so we have a very small, nimble team that do significant amount of work, with those 8 developers. And so, so for those that come in and say, hey, I've got a small team and it's, it can be done, right? You can come in, you can showcase some of the, really, really good functionality that your site provides. You can showcase the navigation. You can showcase, how you're leveraging your knowledge. You can do all that with a fairly small, nimble team. It just takes the right technology, and it just takes the right architecture, to be able to manage it effectively. And that's what we've been able to do, is optimize the architecture, and optimize the platform that we're on, and how we pull in all of the data that's necessary and all the content that's necessary from other systems to make our site work. So, small development team. We also have a team of operation analysts, if you will, that help support the site, and they gather customer feedback. They support customers when they're having an issue with the site itself. And so, they pull in all that feedback from customers. We use Jira, as our kind of ticket management system. And so they'll open that feeds into our development team, and they'll work those tickets. We just have a very efficient, process that we follow in order to get as much done on the site as possible with that small team. So it can be done. It's not always the easiest. We wear a lot of hats, because of that, but we get a lot done.
Yes, and you showed us that, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else has a question? Put it in the Q&A. Otherwise, we'll go back to Al. Anybody else? Okay, well, Bevin, thank you so much.
Thank you, FT.
This has been really interesting, seeing what you are doing and the very complex systems that you've put into place to take care of your high confidentiality customers. I think that's actually quite inspiring to me, certainly, that yes, it could be done, right? You just have to decide that you want to do it, basically. So
exactly.
Congratulations again, and I hope that
Thank you.
next year will bring good news to you again. Thank you.
Thank you,
Indeed.
Bevin,
Thanks.
and thank you, Françoise. Always a delight to work with both of you.
Indeed.
And good luck on next year, Bevin.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. We'll have some big things coming.
Good. I'm excited to hear that. So if you guys can,